What a feeling. Finally have the first physical copy of my upcoming book. One thing about doing a project like this is I guess you'll never know an hour count. Like, how much time did I spend writing this? I know it was years on the calendar, but I will never know how much actual work time. Definitely a ridiculous amount. Deadly Ingenuity, a history of unusual weapons from around the world and across time. Since this is my proof copy, it's unbound, so it's a loose leaf. And since the time that I recorded this footage when I first opened it up, I of course have poured over it, but, all the proofreading really happens before this stage. What you're looking now for are any visual errors, did the picture come out as clear as I hoped it would? I think it looks pretty cool. And this part is also kind of nerve-wracking because you're wondering if you're going to find something that you hadn't noticed before, some error, or, somehow maybe did some error come out in the physical printing of the book that you couldn't have caught or wouldn't have seen when you were reviewing the electronic files over and over and over again. Let's take a look inside, and there's things to check on, like, are things on the right side that are supposed to be on the right side instead of the left side? Did they get shuffled at some point? But everything's where I wanted it to be. Table of contents. I've got the book broken out into 4 parts. 20 chapters. Some of them are short, but some of them are definitely supersized. I like keeping my introductions short. I never have understood the point of, novella introductions, just these incredibly long ones. I keep it nice and to the point so we can move on. Opening quotation. I always love picking those out. Hungry man, reach for the book. It is a weapon. That's from Bertolt Brecht. I had to use a picture of myself against my will for the first image in the book because nowhere could I find what I needed to illustrate the point in question. Here's a movie poster from old school Japanese samurai cinema. There are a lot of pictures of antique weapons in the book. Sometimes they're mine, like that one there, that's my hand, and sometimes they're from museums, auction houses, whatever. And of course, there's a whole lot of making sure the text came out the way you expected it to. Are the quotations actually offset? Do they have the spaces above and below? All that fun stuff. Well, like I said, at 20 chapters, 78,000 words. The book doesn't look that big. I went with 6x9 and paperback this time to get the cost down versus my last weapons book. But it does feel heftier in hand than you would be able to tell by this video. Here's a great picture. See this poor guy with a dart in his face from a soccer riot, football riot. I saw that pipe tomahawk in person. A lot of the antiques I talk about, the individual specimens in the book, are things I've actually held. As I mentioned in the book's conclusion, how many weapons actually get surveyed in here? Well, it's higher than the chapter count, that's for sure. It kind of depends on how you want to count, but I put it at 54. Here's a vintage jeans advertisement starring Chuck Norris. The reason will make sense in the book. I've got a really fun true crime incident in that chapter. And some of the things in the book are being touched on and hypothesized about, definitely for the first time in martial arts literature history, I guess, if you will. So I'm really excited about that. I think I ended up with 291 citations. Yuck, I never need to see those again. Well, that is about it. This is just a ad hoc celebratory video because the book now exists in physical form. I'm waiting on the first batch, the early batch, to send out to my Kickstarter backers. Those will all be sent out before this month is up for sure, so I think I'm looking at a September publishing date on Amazon, BarnesandNoble.com, and other locations. Holding the first copy of a book you worked for years on, always an interesting feeling. Thanks, and watch out for the book.